You just checked your bank account. You have $1 trillion. Not a billion. Not 10 billion. A trillion. The kind of number that doesn't feel real until you do the math. If you spent $1 million every single day from the moment you were born, you'd still be spending money right now. You'd still be spending it when your grandchildren are old. The world is yours. Except, no one told you what that actually means. The news breaks before you can say a word. Within 6 hours, your face is on every screen in every country. You didn't do a press release. You didn't post online. Someone, a bank employee, a junior analyst, someone with a login, sold the story for what your team later estimates was $40,000. $40,000 changed your life forever. You now have 25 million times that. The calls start immediately. Your old phone, the one with the cracked screen you kept meaning to replace, rings for 4 straight hours. You stop answering. You sit in your kitchen. Someone outside is taking photos through the window.
Security is arranged within 48 hours. Not 2 guards, not 4. A full rotating detail of 12, ex-military, trained for this. You don't choose them. You don't meet them. A firm handles it. A firm you didn't know existed 2 days ago. You move within the week. Not because you want to, because your old address is already on the internet. The new property is 14 acres. Iron gates, guardhouse, a private road. From the gate, you can't even see the main house. $200 million. That's 0.02% of your net worth. The equivalent, proportionally, of a person earning $60,000 a year buying a $12 coffee. You don't feel it leave. Within 30 days, 63 people work at your home. Housekeepers, chefs, groundskeepers. A property manager who manages other managers. An IT team just for the security systems. A personal assistant with her own assistant. You learn their names, slowly. Some of them you never learn at all. The compound runs like a machine. A perfect, silent, expensive machine. And you are the only person who lives in it. Here's what nobody prepares you for. $1 trillion is not a static number. Even sitting in the most boring investment on earth, low-yield government bonds, your net worth grows by tens of millions every day. You wake up richer than you went to sleep. Every single morning. Without doing a thing. You try to spend it. You buy Bugatti. Not a car. The company. $2 billion. And your accountant logs it as a rounding error. You commission the largest private yacht ever built, complete with a submarine bay and a full surgical suite. $600 million. You're still richer at midnight than you were at dawn. The money has become something you can no longer interact with. It's too large. It has its own gravity now. It pulls things toward it.
Lawyers, advisors, governments, strangers. And you are just standing at the center of it, wondering when it started running you instead of the other way around. You want coffee. Just coffee. From the place you've gone every morning for 4 years. Security needs 45 minutes of advance notice. Route planning. Threat assessment. You arrive, and the cafe goes quiet the moment you walk through the door. The barista, who used to remember your order, is trembling. Someone in the corner films you over the top of their laptop. The coffee tastes exactly the same. Nothing else does. You stop going. Your friends start to disappear. Not dramatically, not with a fight. They just get quieter. Careful. They weigh their words before they speak, as if one wrong sentence might cost them something. Your college roommate visits for a weekend.
He used to argue with you about everything. Movies, politics, whether pineapple belongs on pizza. For 2 straight days, he agrees with every single thing you say. He laughs at your unfunny jokes. He compliments the wine he doesn't like. He leaves, and you understand. The friendship is already gone. What you have now is an audience of 1. 17 in the first 6 months. An ex-business partner who claims you owe him from a deal 9 years ago. A woman in a state you've never visited who says you verbally promised her $10 million at a fundraiser a month ago. A former employee who says you destroyed her career. Most of it is fabricated. All of it costs money to fight. Your lawyers tell you, when you have $1 trillion, the legal system becomes a toll booth. People know you can afford to settle, so they file. And when you settle, not because they're right, but because fighting it publicly costs more, it creates a signal. And the signal invites 10 more. Your annual legal budget crosses $40 million. You have an entire floor of a law firm working exclusively on your cases. You have never met most of the lawyers. One Tuesday morning, your head of security calls a meeting. Someone on staff has been feeding information to a tabloid. Not dangerous information. Small things. Your schedule, your mood, which car you took, what you ate. Enough to run a weekly column. They found the source through metadata. A photo that ran in a gossip outlet cross-referenced with security footage. The angle matched a specific window in the East Wing. 3 people had access to that hallway. It was Linda, the housekeeper, the one who always left fresh flowers in the entryway on Mondays. She's escorted out on a Wednesday. You watch from the second floor window.
She carries a cardboard box. She doesn't look up. A man in a suit walks her to the gate. Another opens it. A car takes her away. Her replacement starts Friday. You stand at the window longer than you planned. Your mother calls on a Sunday. She asks if you're eating. She tells you about a bird that keeps getting into her garden. For 10 minutes, your shoulders relax and your jaw unclenches, and you almost forget what your life has become. Then she mentions your brother. He didn't ask her to call. He never would. But he's behind on the mortgage. His car needs work. And you have more money than most governments. And he's family. You didn't know he was struggling. You transfer a few million that afternoon. He doesn't call to say thank you.
3 months later, at a holiday dinner you flew the whole family to on your 747, your brother sits at the far end of the table. He talks to everyone except you. When you try to catch his eye, he stares at his plate. He leaves before dessert without saying goodbye. Your mother calls a week later. Different tone, quiet. She tells you your brother said something to your cousin, that you ruined the family, that everything changed when the money came. You tell her you'll talk to him. You don't. What would you say? You can't unwire the compound. You can't park the jet. You can't walk into his house without 2 armed men waiting in the driveway. The gap between your lives isn't a conversation. It's a canyon. You take the yacht out on a Tuesday. The Pacific is so blue it looks painted. Dinner is prepared by a chef who trained for a decade under Michelin-starred cooks.
The table is set for 1. You get back to the compound and go to bed early. Somewhere around 3 a.m., you're awake. You walk the hallways. The cinema is empty. 60 seats, dark screen. The library is empty. The only sound is the faint mechanical hum of a security camera at the end of the corridor, adjusting its angle, tracking your movement. You step outside. The lawn is cold and wet under your feet. You walk to the middle of it and look up. The sky is the same sky you used to stare at from the roof deck of your old apartment. When rent was late and you didn't care. When the stars felt like they were yours. They haven't moved. Everything underneath them has. Nobody tells you that $1 trillion doesn't buy you presents. It buys you distance. Distance from crowds. Distance from lawsuits. Distance from the people who want something from you. And from the people who just wanted you. You go back inside. You go back to bed. Tomorrow, 63 people will show up to run a machine that you live alone inside of. The cameras will track your movement. The lawyers will send their summaries. The money will make more money. And somewhere across town, a housekeeper named Linda will look for a new job. She'll never know that the morning she left, you stood at that window for a long time. She was just one of 63 people, but she was the only one who left flowers.